Okay? And she has to find a man who's her equal, essentially. And that can be hard to find. So for those type of women, really the number one thing is, all right, let's look at your chart and see when the wait is over, because you're going to have to be patient and wait to find someone who's an equal partner, and who ideally is an equal partner in your world, perhaps, because then you can be alphas together and doing the same type of things, and that can be a really nice combination.
Yeah.
You know, like Hillary Clinton and Bill and Hillary Clinton, right?
Yeah.
We got these two alpha type personalities, not perfect people by any means, but obviously their relationship made it because they're both strong in what they intend to do. They're both people who have the destiny to make some things happen in the world, and that's the glue that has held them together over a lot of tragic events. And so you need to find someone in your field who can shine with you on your side in equal partnership. It can be really great. Like Bill's supporting Hillary more now. Hillary supported Bill more in the past. It's a nice little trade-off. But it can take time to find that right person. And while that's happening, it can be so easy to meet really wonderful people that in some ways are really desirable to the woman, but who in the long run aren't going to really make it. So really patience is what I would advocate for that type of alpha woman. And that ain't that hard. That's the, you know, just waiting around till the right guy shows up who's good enough for her, you know, who's equally powerful to enough of a balanced degree that and who's not needy, who won't feel rejected when his wife has some important thing to do and can't come play with him when he wants her to, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I totally agree what you're saying. You're talking about the power couple.
Yeah.
The power couple.
That's the best thing. The other option is just to have a play toy. But the problem with having a play toy is, while he is a play toy in one respect, he still is going to have that same effect on her. She's still going to bond to him, and she's still going to possibly get pregnant by him. Either one of those things will destroy her alpha kingdom, you know, and disturb her. Because once she starts bonding to him, it's feminine nature to start shifting into the man's mode and shifting into what he deems important to also her to consider that important. And then so if she starts bonding in that direction, it can take her away from where she really wants to go. Okay? Now, there's very, very, very few of those type of alpha women out there. It's not the norm. Okay? Those are great ladies. We need more of them in the world, but there's just not a whole lot. Okay? But hopefully we'll see more of those. Okay, then we got the alpha woman who meets the men that are they're just losers, meaning she's just a nice person, but she meets a man who just can't pull his weight financially, job-wise, in some way. And so she falls in love with this guy, bonds to him. At that point, and again, this is the woman that usually has some trouble with her Jupiter in their chart. Jupiter represents what the husband can provide in a woman in her chart. That type of woman, and then she just has to end up taking care of more things. Okay, and eventually she ends up disrespecting that guy. So first she kind of gets thrown into the leader role more, and then after a while she ends up not having any respect for the guy. And he also, over time, he gets more and more frustrated with his incapacity to take care of the girl he loves. So then that type of alpha woman, she has to do what I think is the hardest thing for any person in a leader or in the first position to do. And that is to help the people underneath them rise to the occasion. You know, and that's really the hardest thing for any leader to do. It's easy to tell people what to do. That's what leaders usually do, right? We tell people what to do. Do this, do that, do that, do that, you know?
Yeah.
And we tell people what to do. So we're not so much, those type of people are not so much leaders, they're kind of commanders.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, men like being led, but they don't like being commanded, right?
No.
Right? You can't tell a guy what to do because he gets all sour and bitter and resentful, right?
Yes.
So that kind of alpha woman, even though she's the one who's taking care of things, it's going to be natural for her to start telling the guy what to do more because she's getting more and more frustrated and more needs to get done, and she's getting more and more burdened. And so she has to learn how to have men rise to the occasion, to better themselves, okay? And what's their reward for that? Well, their reward for bettering themselves is that they're going to be able to be with her.
Yeah.
And so that kind of woman, she has to know she's worth a better guy. And that through that, force the man, or not force the man, but give the man no other option but to rise to the occasion or disappear. And if she can do that, if she can just say, if a man wants to be with me, if he wants to have sex with me, he's going to have to make more money than me. And she can even say that. I don't have sex with men who make less money than me, because if I get pregnant, I'm going to have to make the money and raise the kids, and I can't handle that. So if you want to have sex with me, bring me your paycheck stub when it's higher than mine. Seriously, you know?
Yeah.
That's her attitude. She has to have that attitude.
I love it.
Because if she has sex with him before that, she's going to bond to this guy who's capable of taking care of her, and that's going to cause imbalances in the relationship. And it's not like the guy needs to take care of the woman. A woman's totally capable of taking care of herself. In fact, one of the big problems we have in this day and age in Western world, especially America, is most women of a particular age are way more capable of taking care of themselves than men of the same age.
Yeah.
So women are so often now looking towards men 10, 20 years older than them, because all the guys in their age group are too busy playing video games, you know, to like do what a woman really needs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
It's sad, you know. I mean, I get these totally beautiful, attractive women coming into my office saying, I can't find a guy who doesn't play video games.
Or smoke weed.
Or who's just drifting through life, you know, doesn't know where he wants to be. So women need to, so that they don't accidentally find themselves being forced into that alpha role of taking care of a loser husband, a family, or being a single mom, they need to make men rise to the occasion. They need to know, you have to be worth my pussy. And I hate to be vulgar in a way, but you need to be worth my pussy. And part of you being worth your pussy is that if need comes to it, and I'm pregnant raising 6 kids because we had 6 triplets, you have to be able to take care of me because I'm going to be too busy breastfeeding 6 kids.
Yeah.
You know, and sure, she can take care of herself better probably than most men can take care of herself, statistically right now. But when she's breastfeeding and getting woken up at night to feed the kids for a couple of years, at that point, she can still do it if she has to. Millions of women do it. That's just no fun way to live, and she shouldn't set herself up for that. So the man, he doesn't have to take care of the woman. He just has to have the capacity to take care of her. Because not like women are helpless, but a woman needs to know that the guy can do right by her if it comes down to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's just biologically right. So she has to make the men rise to the occasion, which means she can't be needy. She can't go, oh, I feel so lonely, I want to be close to someone and cuddle and snuggle and do everything else. No, she has to be strong enough with herself and raise the bar. Same kind of thing a leader has to do. If he wants to raise the bar for the people he's leading, he has to give them the opportunity to go for it without telling them, do this, do that, do that. You know, he has to set the scene to inspire them to do more. And the way a leader does that is by not doing everything himself right away. Giving other people time to think, hey, I can do that. I got an idea. Instead of you do that, you do that, you do that. The leader says, all right, man, what do you think? And then it gives them an option to rise to the occasion. And women can do the same thing. Instead of saying, you need to get a job, just say, what do you think about our finances? And then he could start coming and thinking about the finances and rise to the occasion of increasing the finances. But if she says, you need to take that job of your uncle and get paid $10 an hour because we need money, he's going to resent that because men don't take well to being told what to do. But if she goes, what do you think of our financial situation? Now she's acting for his opinion. And when men give their opinions, they feel good about themselves. They feel respected and therefore loved, and they feel like they have a good relationship with the girl. So it's really sometimes just that simple matter of how the woman handles the guy to give him the chance to feel good about himself and rise to the occasion. Instead of telling him what to do. Because when a woman tells a man what to do, what he hears, hey, you're the guy who's supposed to love and cherish me and take care of me through thick and thin. But you're so goddamn stupid and so useless that me, the woman you're supposed to love and cherish and take care of, has to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
That's what men hear when women tell them even a little thing to do.
Yeah.
That's what we hear. We're like, we feel very insulted.
Yeah. Totally.
Fortunately, a lot of men need to hear that these days.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A
Yeah,
lot.
totally.
Way more than there should be. It's sad. And so women need to learn how to let the man figure it out by himself, because then he'll feel good about himself and actually do something. Yeah. Whereas a man who feels castrated ain't going to do anything good.
Yeah.
So she just has to say, what do you think about her finances?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And she can say, oh, I'm sorry that I'm so busy and don't have any time to play, you know, but there's just, we need to get this money together. And then he can decide, okay, does he want to pitch in more, you know?
Yeah.
But hopefully a woman will play the game right, that she sets the bar before she's involved with him, before she's invested with him, which means really before she has sex with him.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, one of the things is men biologically are engineered to put pressure on women to have sex with them.
Yeah.
You know, because God wants life to continue, and he doesn't care how miserable we are.
Yeah.
He just cares about the survival of the species.
Yeah.
So nature has made men designed to try to have sex with women as soon as they possibly can, because, hey, they could get eaten by a dinosaur in 5 minutes, and they want to make sure they continue their biology, right?
Yeah. Totally.
So, okay. So they're going to push a woman to having sex with them.
Yeah.
They're going to try every chance they get. It's a man's job to try to have sex with a woman.
Yeah.
That's his job. That's his role. He's supposed to.
Yeah.
But it's a woman's job to realize she can have sex with almost any guy she wants. She can have sex with lots of guys. It's biologically, it's not hard for her to get pregnant, because any guy, even the most loser guy, can do it, right?
Yeah.
So the challenge for her is to only have sex with the guys who are worth her pussy, which means guys have the capacity to take care of her if she's pregnant.
Yeah.
You know, if she gets pregnant. Guys have the capacity to take care of themselves and the people they love, basically.
Yeah.
All right? And so it's her job to say no until the guy's at that place. Yeah. And that means at that place in his life, and also, more importantly even, at that place with her. Yeah. Meaning, of all the girls he could possibly want to take care of and love and cherish, he's the one that he's decided he's going to do it with. Mm-hmm. Okay? But what happens is men pressure women, and of course women feel the hots too. And, you know, but part of the woman has this little voice that says, oh, I better do what he wants or he won't love me.
Yeah.
And that's oftentimes the little voice that causes the girl to fall onto the, okay, yes, too early mode. Yeah. Okay? So until the guy has made some form of concrete commitment, and until the guy has the capacity to provide and knows what he wants to do and is going in that direction, a woman just shouldn't have sex with him. Mm-hmm. And if she does, it's her own fault for the mess that she's going to experience as a result of those 5 minutes of fun, right?
Yeah, I know, exactly.
You know what I mean? So, and that's really important. So, unfortunately, sex before a commitment is just a setup for a bad relationship. And men shouldn't even look at women until they know what they want to do with their lives.
Agree.
A guy who doesn't know what he's going to do with his life, of course, like everyone else, he wants love. And like everyone else, he wants sex. Everyone wants those two things, love and sex.
Yes.
All right. But we shouldn't allow ourselves to have those things as a man until we know where we're going in our lives. Because until we know where we're going in our lives, we don't know what kind of woman we can put up with for the next 2 years, not to mention the next 20, 30, or 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman has to complement that in a guy and at least not take away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, a woman will. It's easy for a guy to, be with a woman and decides all of a sudden he wants to do a certain type of career, and the woman just can't respect that. And the relationship dies. It's important for a guy to feel respected by his woman for his career. Okay? So he has to know where he's going, because until he knows where his life's going, he can't know what he needs in a relationship, and he can't even know if he even wants to get married. But yes, he still wants to have sex, and yes, he still wants to have love. But more important than that, he needs to figure out what he wants life's going and start going in that direction. Women should not even look at a guy who doesn't know where he's going with his life. He doesn't have to be done, he doesn't have to be there, but he has to be going in that direction confidently and steadily without falling off the boat and changing his mind all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And any other man is going to be useless to a woman, because he's going to end up treating her the very same way he's going to treat his career.
Agree.
So if you get a man who's committed to your career, he'll be able to be committed to you. Okay? But if he's not committed to you, you're going to have kids, possibly you're going to be the alpha mom, or you're going to be paying more of the money in the relationship and have more of the buying power and be the alpha woman, even though they don't even want to be. So the biggest thing is for women just to stay away from men who are still, who've gone through puberty, but are still little boys at heart, okay?
Okay.
They'll just set up, it's just the wrong thing every time. Now, I've seen women who married men like that, really successful, capable women, men who just didn't know ever what they were going to do, where they were going with life, women who are making 4 or 5 more times or more even money than their husbands, and years of frustration.
Yeah.
15 years of frustration, 20 years of frustration. And it's really not until the woman hits her late 40s and has finished her hormonal shift that she starts feeling okay and not frustrated with her husband anymore. Because at that point, her biology changes, along with that a lot of needs changes, where it's a little more natural to be in the alpha position for her, so she doesn't resent the guy for not being there.
Yeah.
And then they can shift. But do you really want 15, 20 years of being frustrated with your guy? I have clients who, after 10, 15 years, just wanted to throttle their husbands and would call me saying, I think finally we're getting divorced. I think finally this one's it. And it's always about his capacity to provide.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, somehow they didn't divorce that day. They made it through that crisis. 10 years later, she's gone through menopause. And now they're having the best time of their life. Their relationship is better than ever. But for young women who are running a high estrogen load, it's just not an ideal situation.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's just not worth a little bit of love and a little bit of attention. So people need to understand that the value of being alone and the value of being able to be alone, and that there's nothing wrong with being alone, and to not run from loneliness, but to allow loneliness to do what it's meant to do, because loneliness is a process. Then we can run away from loneliness into anything and get in trouble, or we can use loneliness as a motivation to be with a really good person.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can just sit with loneliness and suffer it. Mm-hmm. And that's what nobody wants to do. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to suffer loneliness. Everyone's trying to run from loneliness. I'm so sad. I'm so lonely. I'm going to run to this person. I'm going to run to this addiction. I'm going to run to work too hard. Yeah. I'm going to run into alcoholism. I'm going to run into workaholism. You know? I'm going to run. In fact, I'm going to run 40 miles a day so I don't feel loneliness. Some people even do that. They become super athletes to escape loneliness. Yeah. But loneliness, just because it hurts, doesn't mean it's something we need to escape. It's not a bad thing. It's a natural human emotion. And what I find is for people who are willing to just sit with their natural human emotions, even their painful ones, just let that emotion do what it needs to do. And the process is painful. It's going to take us to deep tears. It's going to take us to a deep place within ourselves that at first hurts so much. But out of that deep place, once a person gets there, there's a lot of beauty to be found within themselves.
Yeah.
So people just need to be willing to sit with that painful emotion of loneliness. Be willing to be teary-eyed for 6 months and sad that you're so lonely for 6 months, and see what's underneath all that. And in every person, there's a deep beauty underneath all that they can find if they don't run from it. Okay?
I agree. I totally agree.
So very important. And then, like any other relationship, not selling out, being strong in what you need, strong in what you are, until you find a person who's strong in what they need and strong in what you are. And then having, again, a nice, healthy 11 relationship of two individuals who make a good pair. The Roman numeral 2, right?
Yes.
Instead of a codependent, intertwined 2, squirrely 2, like we write it,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a mess. You want two independent, strong people who walk together. There's this famous Russian poet, I don't recall his name, but when he asked his wife to marry him, he said, "Will you share this life with me?"
Yeah.
And that's what it's like. It's like you're sharing life with people. You're not making each other feel better. You're not compensating for each other's weaknesses. You're simply sharing this beautiful process of life together as two individuals who want to share it rather than do it alone. And if people could remember, that's really what a working relationship is, instead of it being a relationship of codependence and need, and with hardly any love there, sadly,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now we got our third type of alpha woman. The alpha woman who in our chart has a beat up moon, who's got a beat up first house and things like that, a beat up fourth house. This is the woman that growing up always felt she was in the wrong place. She was born into the wrong family. She was never validated for who she was. She was likely abused as a woman, or failing that, not cherished for what she was, not given any respect for what she innately was, which is also very abusive. Or she was actually dramatically abused, beat by her mother, abused by her father or an uncle sexually. There could actually be abuse there. So where she comes out of, puberty as an emotionally damaged person who has a huge hole in her heart and wants to have love, but doesn't feel worth anything, doesn't feel worth anyone's attention, doesn't feel worth being loved. So this kind of woman decides and has learned that if she's going to do something because she hasn't been loved innately, she's going to have to do it herself.
Yeah.
No one's going to do it for her. No one's going to understand her. No one's going to give her what she needs. That's what life has taught her thus far. So the only way her life's going to work if she takes the power into her own hands, takes care of things herself, makes sure she's always driving, because anyone else driving is just going to crash her into a tree. And she forgets to trust life. She basically loses the ability to trust life. And she loses the ability to trust her feelings, because her feelings were so disrespected growing up that there's just no trust with them anymore. She can't listen to her feelings because no one in her family would listen to them. In fact, she may have been yelled at or screamed at or even beat for saying, "Hey, I don't feel like that." And that's what happens in sexual abuse. Actually, I don't feel like giving you a blowjob, Uncle so-and-so. And Uncle says, "I don't care what you feel." So when the people who are supposed to take care of a woman force her to do things that she doesn't feel like, she grows up not relating to her feelings, not respecting her own feelings. Why? Because they haven't worked for her. A woman's feelings, the way they're designed, is she's supposed to feel what's right and wrong for her. And when she feels something's good, she says yes. And when she feels something bad, she says no. And the whole world is supposed to respect those feelings,
Feelings are not negotiable.
No, they're not. But when the whole world or not the whole world, but the immediate important world to her that's supposed to nurture her, instead disrespects those feelings constantly, she doesn't realize that she needs to follow those feelings anyway.
Yeah.
Okay? And so she'll meet a guy and she'll feel right away, this guy's wrong for me. And then she'll have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Because she won't listen to that first feeling anymore, that guidance feeling that women have. In astrology, we say women are the moon, and woman has a quality we call all-knowing.
Yeah.
Moon, and therefore the woman, just have the ability to know.
Yeah.
Yes and no. This is good. This is bad.
Yeah.
They don't have to study the facts. They don't have to have a conversation. At a glance, a woman can just know.
Yeah.
But do they listen?
Exactly. It's their intuition.
Yep. These kind of women don't listen to that first feeling of good, bad, yes or no. Because no one else listened to their first feelings growing up. That first feeling has been so abused, they just don't know how to listen to it anymore.
Yeah.
So the guidance system of picking the right guy is off now.
Yeah.
And they won't know. In fact, they've been so used to being devalued that the only situations that feel normal to them are devaluing situations.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing about the moon. The moon is what we're used to. It's what we're comfortable with. People get comfortable, we adapt. That's what we do as humans. We adapt to survive. And the planet that does that for us is the moon.
Yeah.
So whatever conditions we see the moon at in the chart, those are the conditions we've adapted to. And those are the only conditions we're going to allow in our lives. So if we got a beat up moon, we've adapted to the fact that life is a brutal, horrible, devaluing experience.
Yeah.
But that's the only experience that's going to really feel right anymore.
Yeah.
So that kind of woman, even if she meets a great guy, you know, a great guy who's strong, who's sincere, who loves her, she's going to do things to make the relationship a miserable experience.
Yeah.
Because that's the only experience she can handle.
Yeah.
And the more she feels loved, the more she's going to think of ways to sabotage it.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be the day after the guy tells her he wants to get a new job so that they can get married, that she sleeps with his best friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Right.
These kind of things, because she's just not comfortable in a good situation.
Yeah.
That's one way it can go. The other way they go, they'll attract men who they're incompatible with, that they just have huge incompatibilities with, that as a result they have a lot of confusion between the two, which also creates an uncomfortable situation where her feelings are not understood, where she's not understood, where basically she's in the very place that she's used to being and therefore comfortable. And she'll run away from good relationships. In fact, that kind of woman, I always tell the guy, if you want to get rid of the girl, just treat her real good. She'll be gone before you know it.
Yeah. It's true.
You don't have to break up with them. They'll run.
Yeah.
You know? But so that kind of woman basically has the most work to do. Really, it's all on her to have a good relationship. The other thing she'll do is that she'll always feel she has a need to prove herself.
Yeah.
Okay? And so she'll always talk about how great she is, all the good things she's done, all the good things she's doing, where she's heading in life, and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And she'll have to be on top, and she'll need to be in the driver's seat because she's trying to prove herself. And she'll be giving and self-sacrificing.
Yeah.
And all those things will be her saying, all right, now that I've sacrificed, I'm worth loving. Now that I've given all I've got and more, I'm worth loving.
Yeah.
Now that I've saved the world, I'm worth loving.
Yeah.
And she's so far from her intrinsic value of you're worth loving because not only are you a human that's having a unique experience of God, but you're the most remarkable kind of human. You're a woman.
Yeah.
Who has a higher intrinsic value than a man.
Yeah.
Okay? Just based on her biology. Women have higher intrinsic value than any man, you know?
Yeah.
But she's forgotten that. She's ran so far away from that. And, you know, it's a funny thing. Men can make life happen better than women can.
Yeah.
But women make life worth living more than any man can.
Yeah.
What has more value? A life worth living, or a life where a lot gets done?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So while men can get a lot done, without a woman and without women, life really just isn't worth living.
Yeah.
And so a woman's value, in any way you cut it, is intrinsically higher than a man's.
Yeah.
But she's run so far away from that that she thinks she has to basically act like a man, be on top, do everything, be the smartest, be right, have more money, pay more bills, that there's no room for a man to even love her as a woman anymore.
Yeah.
And so basically these women run into male mode because their female mode is so damaged.
Yeah.
And no matter how many great things they do, how many men they get to love them, how many healings they go through, how many things they learn, at the end of the day, they're still miserable people who don't feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
So these kind of women have to learn to be female all over again.
Yeah.
And which means they have to learn how to spend at least an hour a day doing nothing. They have to learn to just sit with themselves in stillness and quiet and realize they don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, that's a hard thing for them. These women rarely will stop. The minute they slow down, they fall asleep. You know?
Yeah.
Because they've been running around so much. So seriously, it sounds funny, but they'll run circles around the world sometimes, and the minute they stop, they just pass out.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. These kind of women need a man until they're tired. And the minute they're tired, they don't even want the man. They just want to go to bed.
Yeah, it's so true.
Because they're either way, they just want to run from those painful feelings. Run to a man, run to work, run to this, run to that.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of these kind of women in, you know, at the temples and the yoga practices and getting their initiation. Because they're hurting women, and so they feel they have to do something to be better.
I live in the yogi city.
Yeah, it's a scary thing. You know, I used to always say, hey, between one of these yoga girls and the dumb girl off the farm, I'll take a dumb girl off the farm any day. Because having a relationship with a person who's trying to compensate is really hard.
It is.
You can't have a healthy relationship. So these women have to stop trying to compensate for not feeling good.
Yeah.
And they have to just sit and do whatever it takes to work through all these feelings. What that means is, it doesn't mean they need to go do yoga. It doesn't even mean that, because they're doing. They need to do nothing and be accepted for that.
Totally agree. I practically call them the nun. The archetype, the nun. They have oral sex with food, or they do yoga stuff.
Yeah. So they need to just be okay with themselves for no reason.
Yeah.
And until they come to terms with them, that means a lot of scary emotional processing, which means they also need people in their lives who are gonna who are gonna like them and validate them, even though they've got 101 issues.
Yeah.
So their environment is really important. They have to meet and connect.
Guys, that's such a great interview. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and comment.